Hey there, friends and enemies, JoPaWrites here again, and today we got a Destiny 2 ViDoc called Confronting Oblivion for the Final Shape, and I really love the behind the scenes that they do. It really shows how they built the new expansion, and that's always super fascinating to me. It might be not everyone's cup of tea, but I do really enjoy it. It also gives us a sneak peek at things, so I'm going to try to pick that out as well. Let's check out the ViDoc and see what they have for us today.
And Tyson, take one marker.
There's a line that emerged in Destiny 1 that wasn't planned for, but is very deliberate by the person who put it in the game, and is very resonant for Destiny players, and resonant for me as a person. And that line is, Guardians make their own fate.
Yeah, every D1 vet knows that one.
That still gives me goosebumps. For me, that has sort of become a touch point for the Destiny story.
That actually makes sense.
Again and again, external forces come and try to impose a fate upon you and humanity. And again, you show them that they can't do that. We make our own fate. It's not just a powerful theme of Destiny, it's also a powerful theme for us as people, as both developers and as humanity. We make our own fate.
That's kind of sick.
When you're talking about 10 years of story, there's a lot of stuff crammed in there, and there's a lot of things that we could do and could talk about. But as storytellers, the hardest part isn't coming up with the ideas, it's knowing which ones are the important ones.
Narrowing it down for
We want to
sure.
tell a story that makes you, the player, feel like all of that time that you invested, we saw you, and we want to give you the experience that you've been waiting for.
That's exciting to
hear. We looked at everything we had. We laid it all out, like whiteboards and like everything.
We were trying to look.
So they had, look at this. I'm going to stop real quick. But they had right here, they had missions. So it looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Lost Sector, Strike, Mission 6, Mission 7. More over here. I wonder if that's how the layout is actually going to be. That could be very fascinating. But they also had over here, right there, Crow, Ghost, Cade, Ikora, Zavala, Witness. All right, so beginning, middle. Okay, so that's really interesting how they're
everything.
We were trying to look for a theme that felt resonant, not just for this story, but for Destiny as a whole.
Okay,
and the theme that we kept coming back to was purpose and fate. And that's what this story is about. Ghosts. Not just for ourselves as the player, but also for our characters.
I used to think I'd give anything to bring you back.
I cried quite a few times doing those scripts because I treated it with the love of a fan. Every time I opened a script, I was like, what would I want to see? What would I want to hear?
You get to see their emotional journey, the struggle of how do we defeat the Witness?
I don't care. I love the Witness's design. I think it looks sick.
Let us bring an end to your futile exertions.
The Witness sees itself as the one true God. So it's come to the Traveler because it needs the power of the Traveler's light to finish this vision.
Its goal is salvation. Why don't you want that?
Be reborn.
Our mission is to make sure that we can prevent it from getting the light, the thing that it needs, in order to make it all happen.
It's finally confronted the Traveler, and here we are, thorns in its side, a blip on its radar, trying to make a difference.
You're gonna speak to the Witness, and the Witness is gonna shine a light on some things, and you wonder, like, what would it be like? What would it be like to be a disciple of the Witness?
Oh, I love that. I did.
Has yet to be determined.
That is sick. Look at the giant axe. Iron banner set up here with the wolf over here. Cracked in half. This one also bisected. Crazy.
Need of a god killer.
Every time you hear the Witness, you're not just hearing one voice, you're hearing whispers in the background, you're hearing all of these other textures.
I like when it has the echo.
You're still resisting.
You can feel a subtext sometimes where the real Witness comes through, or at least things that it doesn't want you to know about it come through.
There is only suffering!
Okay. Putting characters into pressure cookers is what storytellers do best. And I can't imagine a more intense pressure cooker than it's the end of the world. If we fail, everything is frozen forever, and only we can do it. It's just the handful of us inside of a god.
I love how extremely sci-fi this all is.
There were a couple of themes that we had when we started on the Pale Heart. The two main ones that I remember were surreal and shattered to spire.
Seeing how they put a tiny little guardian at the beginning of this vast journey that's spreading out in front of you really put into perspective the scale that we needed to hit in order to make the Pale Heart look and feel dangerous and ambitious and vast.
When we were thinking of surreal things, it was a bit of a challenge, because how do you make something surreal? For me, is putting familiar things out of context.
Not the witnesses,
what is the thing when you turn the corner that you are not expecting? So that's when we play with scale, we play with unexpected things, repetition.
Is that a huge
There's
ghost?
This awesome piece of concept art that is like this massive ghost in the horizon, and you just like go over there and it's just like broken down in the middle, and it's just weird in a way that is unsettling, but at the same time feels very visceral.
Another one that we used was body parts, and it sounds a bit strange because we didn't want to do body horror. So I was taking screenshots from the game and just trying to find silhouettes and things that would look surreal. And I start replacing all the trees with hands. So all the limbs were made out of fingers coming out, and eyes were on the floor. And I do remember our direction was like that, like more hands.
Are there hands holding up the freeway in which we were born?
That's crazy.
Yes. You'll recognize it instantly, and then almost as quickly, you'll realize you've never been here before.
Okay,
I definitely feel like there's some aspects of the Pale Heart where like, this is freaking weird and scary. I want to take that risk. I want to push a little bit of what expectations of a destination can be, and I hope that players love that.
As players progress, they get to see more influence of the Witness, not just on the Traveler, but also on the races that it's interacted with that we've seen so far.
This I'm really hyped about.
The Dread are a result of the Witness experimenting with the light. So while it's inside the Pale Heart, it's able to access the light as it's trying to siphon it. It is using that light to create and alter new and different combatants. And so we've encountered some of these members before. Now we have a name for them.
The new Dread units. They're using a new language, collaborating with narrative. We went through and used this constructed language tool to generate different phrases and figure out like grammar structures and other things.
Fire.
The pyramid language that the new Dread units speak is actually translatable. So players, if they're really interested in figuring out what the pyramid units are saying, could decipher these. Kos yen it gate, vaktoku vakad. The husks are an interesting addition to Destiny because you've never fought anything like them before.
We talked about, it needs some big weapons. Like, it needs to look like this thing is serious business. They wanted a bit of a secondary unit on it, so like a 2-in-1. As the sketches were progressing, we were kind of like, this feels like it's sentient. And we just love the idea.
We had all these different sound effects in our library of water bladders that make some really cool sounds when you're shaken. We used some sounds of slapping jello too.
This is the
so that was kind of the foundation for the husk. You have all these real physical sounds that come together and feels like an alien moving around in the stomach of this thing. The collaboration between the different disciplines and the trust we have for each other. At the end, it comes out better than anybody could have made individually.
Dude, I want to go have
There's
a
moment
mission
where you realize, looking at the final shape, that it's not just a story about the Guardian's journey. It's also kind of the story of Destiny's journey. It starts in a place of uncertainty and challenge, and then it changes and evolves, and it proceeds forward into the unknown. And as you get closer to the final shape, those two experiences converge. We know where we're going, we know where we're aiming for,
I feel very confident about the love and the work and the thoughtfulness that everyone working on this release put into it. And I think it's inevitable that when people start going in and experiencing all these different things that make up this expansion, I think they're gonna see it.
I won't lose another soldier in this war.
I love it. Yo. Okay, he kicked up the baby screen. Also, we had Pro using Golden Gun. Yeah, I'm locked in for sure. So that was really cool. I love this a lot. I think the behind the scenes is very sick. We obviously have the new Zavala voice actor. Unfortunately, we had the passing of the old one, and I think that's obviously such a bummer, but it does feel like we now have an answer to whether that's going forward. I think, if I'm being honest, this is going to be a spoilery prediction type of thing. I think this is going to be the last time we see Zavala with us going forward. I think either he's going to retire, maybe he'll sacrifice himself, something of that nature. As far as the rest of it, the enemy types look sick. I really enjoy this guy, especially the dual blade dude over here, who, if I can find him, yeah, that's my favorite of the new enemy types. I don't know if the flying ones are going to be as annoying as flyers in other games, but it's definitely likely. This dude right here, the little, where is he at? This guy who twirls his staff, I think looks pretty sick as well. I'm a big fan of that. But the level design, it looks unlike anything. Like, Neomuna was cool and all, but this is the kind of stuff that I wish we would get more of in Destiny. It's just so different from anything we've seen as of yet, and I love that. So that's what I'm really excited to take a look at for sure. Anyway, let me know what you guys think. There's another ViDoc coming out tomorrow. I'm going to try to react to it before I go on vacation, but I will be gone for a few days. In time, back next week to really grind and get ready for the final shape. And as a quick note, reminder, you want to be farming your shiny drops for Onslaught next week for sure, as they are doubling the drop rate of them, and you are already seeing an increase in the amount. So don't spend all of your coins this week. Make sure you save them for next week and turn them all in and try to get as many shinies as you possibly can before they go away with the final shape. Anyway, my name is Jopa. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. It helps me out tremendously. I'm going to have loads of new Destiny 2 content as we head into the final shape and for the foreseeable future. Really excited about the future of the game, at least in the near term. Definitely hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. My name is Jopa. Have a good one. I'll catch you all later.